Do you just see that research is backing up that these men are literally killing you? That's right, they are taking our life. This piano sucks, but it's cute. Although I tell you all the time, just because a man is not an abusive doesn't mean he is not taking your life or physically abusing you. We're going to dive into it in just a second. But before we do, please join my Patreon because I have a lot of fun over there. I do lives. I talk about France, healing, dating, creativity, all kinds of stuff. Go join it if you want to support my work and don't want to count on the algorithm to get it out to you. Link is in my caption thing. Before I dig into this research, literally just came out in the Washington Post. I want to thank the patron. Is that what you call it? They're a patron. Who sent me this today. Y'all derail my work all the time. I had all these other things arranged, but then this came out and I'm just ADHD and also like excited about it, so I want to talk about it. But thank you for sending it because I probably wouldn't have caught it. And the other stuff, stay tuned. It'll be like tomorrow or the next day. I personally experienced this when I got out of that abusive relationship. My throat was starting to close in on itself. What do you? I don't think he likes the piano, and honestly, I think it's not great. Anyway, I was in the emergency room for a bizarre throat thing. I couldn't eat, I couldn't swallow, I couldn't even drink water. I finally went to the ER because I couldn't drink water, and I knew that that's deadly. So I had to have a bag of liquids. They had to give me steroids and like 7 different things to get me to be able to eat and swallow because something was happening in my throat. Now I like to think it's probably chakra stuff and biting my tongue and holding my justifiable rage at this man, and just whatever. And they almost took out my tonsil. They literally sent me to a throat specialist in Albuquerque, and they were like, "Yeah, we could take them out, but we'd rather not unless we have to." And I was like, well, I'm in a really stressful situation right now, like bad relationship, and I'm about to get out. Do you think maybe I should play it safe and not take them out? And they're like, probably. I did not have them taken out. And then it just magically healed itself as soon as I left. As soon as I left, gone. So when I tell you, these men literally make you sick. And people talk about it in my comments all the time through your autoimmune stuff, the inflammation, okay? My mutual Lorraine worked in a pharmacy for a long time, and she talks about this all the time. These men will literally make you sick. But now they have research to back it up. Now, because they always seem to miss out some really important context, I'm going to add my own. The unique toll of stress and depression on women's heart. I start off with a personal story about this woman who just like could not get help until she went to the right person, which, this happens to like all women with the medical. We get gaslit all the time. No one believes us. No one cares. No one cares about like our birth control, but they do care about making sure men's is hard. Like we know all this. I wrote this for Glamour magazine a while ago. I quote a lot of my sources. There's been books written about this. There's been articles written about it. Like endless research on this. We know this is a thing. And then they're going to gaslight you even more the more melanated your skin is. We also know that is true. That has been proven to be true. So this lady didn't get any answers until she went to this one doctor. This lady visited a woman's heart specialist that she found answers. Shocker. We also know that if a woman surgeon works on you over a man, you're more likely to live. Like seriously, there's like so few reasons for me to go to male doctors, like cis het men particularly, anymore. I mean, I still will on occasionally if they have been recommended and are really good. So the doctor asked questions about her life, family, and stress related to her work as a director of, all this stuff, right? And then they explained the link between mental health and cardiac health, especially in women. Y'all, these men are giving us heart attacks. I'm just going to say right now, start faking heart attacks to get your husband's attention if they will not. If they won't believe you when you're just like, I'm overwhelmed. They're like, you worry too much. And you're like, hey, maybe if I fake a heart attack, you'll start to believe me. Maybe if I get a diagnosis, Swear to God, if more men realize that the link between a woman feeling overwhelmed is them not doing enough, not understanding what invisible labor is, and the mental load, and how every task, all roads lead back to her. Every task, until they start to understand, they need to question, you are the problem. You are making her heart hurt and mess up with its pumping. So of course they give new blood pressure medication, a lifestyle regimen focused on stress reduction. Now if I recall when I read this a few hours ago, they don't really mention men in here much, which I find to be very frustrating. Like, can you just take it one step further? The same way when, like, the New York Times wrote all that stuff about women's sleep and how women's sleep is so messed up. What is it? It could be giving birth. It could be hormones. It could be perimenopause. It could be all these things. But it could be men. And it could be snoring and their sleep apnea and their refusal to do anything about that. Like, there's all these factors that to me are so obvious that they never mention in this. And it drives me nuts. So when she finally got, like, somebody, like, took her seriously, it's like, now I know the importance of a work-life balance. Now, what could be causing that work-life balance to not be a little off? Just say it! Nobody will just say it. I'm not saying that that we don't just do too much, that we aren't conditioned to do too much, to help our mother-in-law, our father-in-law, our dad, just take care of people. That's all we do. We've been conditioned to take care of everybody. And if we dare take a moment of rest and think, maybe I'll read a book or go on vacation. Nope, I gotta volunteer. I gotta start an NGO. I gotta adopt another animal. Whatever it is, we just don't know how to stop. Most of us. We feel guilty. I know there's nuance to this, and it's probably even more pressure depending on the community that you are raised in. But I know this seems to be a universal experience for all the women I've ever met, including my mutuals who are in different countries, doing too much because everything is expected of us and it's all devalued, and because it's free, it's like not even take it seriously. Don't buy your mother or women plants anymore unless you know they really want one, because that's where everything for women is about, taking care of somebody or something. This little work-life balance importance, there is just one person, one demographic of people who tends to have a thing that makes this nearly impossible if you hook your wagon onto theirs. If you get in their little sidecar next to their motorcycle adventure of life that is all about them, your work-life balance is going to be forked. Forked. Unless they read books like Fair Play and watch the people on TikTok telling them you're not doing enough. I hope this scares. This is hopeful because it's science and it's data. So maybe if you haven't believed me or some of my mutuals that this is deadly, listen to the doctors. They're telling you. Growing body of evidence suggests that the effects of mental health has a disproportionate impact on women's bodies. What could be affecting our mental health? Besides hormones, perimenopause, birth, like giving birth, all the things. It could be men raping us all the time, threatening to rape us all the time, coercing us all the time, exploiting our labor, and just making our lives harder, and just stalking us and doing all kinds of things that make us live in a constant state of fear. And even if you're not married to one or don't date any, they still are a menace and make you scared. That impacts your mental health. And then you have children with them. And now all of a sudden, the king of the castle, the pink baby, he just wants to do whatever he wants, hobbies, endless time, and then eventually he's gonna be this. Whether he has a podcast or not, he's a podcast bro. All this research is saying that depression and anxiety make us anxious. The things that men are not doing on their to-do list, all the things that are floating in our head that we know need to get done, but we don't know if they'll get done because they're on his list and he's unreliable. So we think about it all day, every day, for months and months and months, and then it doesn't get done. So then we have to do it. And now we not only have dealt with anxiety and resentment, so angry that this is our problem, but also depression. Anxiety and depression. What is the depression about? Realizing you are not valued. You are not cared for. You are not considered or respected, even though maybe he thinks he is, because he's giving you all this labor and doesn't appreciate it. And you start to feel not loved. That's depressing. What's also depressing is, even furthermore, if they're just not working on this stuff, that's best case scenario. Depressing is realizing that you're married to someone who hates you. Anxiety, anxiety about all this stuff not getting, or anxiety that you are a stay-at-home mom and do not have a really ironclad prenup that gives you a lot of his income is put into your own bank account, locked away so he can never, ever, ever touch it, and you keep making money even though you don't go to work because you're doing all this labor. Anxiety is knowing you don't have that. So it's going to make you a little anxious to worry every day. Is he going to make me homeless because he sees someone younger and just decides to just start forking her and abandon our family? That will make you anxious. We know how often men do this. So if you don't have money, you're going to be anxious. So depression and anxiety accelerate the development of new cardiovascular disease factors, particularly among young and middle-aged women. What are middle-aged women doing? Young and middle-aged women are usually dealing with children and or dating men and being married to men. Look at this research of 71,000 people, 200. Those with a history of anxiety or depression before this study were about 55% more likely to develop high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or diabetes compared to those without. The finding was most pronounced among women with anxiety, or here we go again, anxiety and depression. Anxiety and depression who are under 50, who are nearly twice as likely to develop the cardiovascular risk factors compared with any other group. I really wish that, I swear to God, if it's not perimenopause or menopause, and you feel anxious and depressed all the time, and you are married to a man, just saying, maybe don't go and get a prescription for that. Maybe start challenging this more and either make him deal with this or start thinking of another option. Because I'm telling you, anxiety and depression is almost always about men. Not always. Sometimes it's about women. Sometimes about your children. There's so many things. The economy, the housing crisis, la 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 la. But what we're talking about in this particular video and this article is that they will not say what's causing the anxiety and depression. Capitalism, white supremacy culture, and patriarchy, and ableism, and anti-trans, and anti-LGBTQ, and ageism. It's all the things. But if you're married to a man, it's very well likely that he is not deconstructing patriarchy, and he's causing the anxiety and depression, that your poor mental health. Maybe not. Maybe you're just happy. Or maybe you're gaslit. Is that a word? Being gaslit by him. So they're doing all this because they want women to start, screen for cardiovascular risk factors. Not only because, you can actually start treating it, but I want you to actually see the damage that's being done to your body. These men are literally going to take years off of your life. Both of my grandmas died before my grandpas. One, I am not sure why. The other one, I absolutely know why. That man totally unalived her. He was abusive, but she got cancer and was sick and died, and he went on to marry another woman and have a whole new life and danced at her funeral. I'm king of the mountain now and all that stuff. This woman was so bitter. She made everyone around her life hell. He also wouldn't let her have a divorce. So, what was she supposed to do, right? She did fork the neighbor for 20 years. Good for you, Granny. Previous studies have shown that stress and emotional health can have an outsized impact on women's hearts. Like, this isn't like necessarily new, but they're trying to be like, hey, your heart is literally hurting from the... Okay, pay attention to this right here. One study of more than 3,600 men and women from blah, 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 looked at married partners who typically bottled up their feelings during a fight with their spouse. Women who self-silenced during marital conflict were 4 times as likely to die during the 10-year study period as women who always spoke their mind. Now, if you haven't listened to Gabor Mate, what's the name of that book? Someone write it, please. That book scared the crap out of me. I think that book really, it made me like work on my codependency and her more. Okay? People pleaser. You know, it's okay. The go-to girl, the woman who gets everything done at the office, the family member who does everything. This, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. Learning how to stand up to your spouse. And I say stand up for a reason, because a lot of us are just like, just defer to men so naturally. And where some of us, especially if you grew up with a narcissist, an abusive home with addiction or any of that stuff, it doesn't have to, dad didn't have to be, it could have been mom, it could have been anyway. But if you come from a home where you walked on eggshells, you're gonna die from that. There's many ways you could, but this is one. It literally will, like, you know, it's not good on your health and your poor heart. And like I said in the beginning, that throat thing, I have had endless issues with my throat. And it's from biting my tongue, silencing myself, being a little comedian. I'll make a joke, all the things I do to make everybody comfortable because I can't stand open conflict and all that stuff, which is also part of white supremacy culture, by the way. All the things I do to try to control the moods and the feelings of everyone around me so that I feel safe, because I don't feel safe if there's anger or any of that stuff. Guess what? As a child, okay, it made sense. As an adult, unless I am literally in physical danger and cannot control this whole situation, learning how to not bite my tongue is life-saving. And it's so hard, y'all. It's so hard. You take little baby steps. I'm still learning how to do it. I'm really good at doing it with certain people, especially people who, like my best friend Liz, like my husband, like a lot of my friends, like my sister, like a lot of people in my family. I'm getting really good. I'm great at it. Lots of practice. But put me in a situation with a stranger, I'm still like, I hate it. It's still my reaction to just smile or laugh at a dumb joke or just, and I hate it. But I'm getting better, okay? Don't need little Judge Judy to be like, you stupid, silly, la la la, okay? IFS therapy, if you know what I'm talking about. That's like Judge Judy, a little silent, ironic protector, whatever. Please, please, if you have never taken this seriously when I've talked about it so many times, this is so important, y'all. Obviously, if you're in an abusive relationship or la 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 or many la la la, there's so much nuance. But just staying with somebody who just either you silence yourself or they silence you, you are 4 times as likely to die. And here's the kicker. This effect was not seen in men. Shocker. This is a maladaptive survival mechanism, y'all. Okay? Like, let's not judge ourselves for doing this, because there's usually a reason. There's a reason why we do this, okay? Whether in your family system or just patriarchy in general or just trauma or whatever. There's a reason why we do it, but it is maladaptive. It doesn't work anymore. Whether the woman reported being in a happy marriage or an unhappy marriage didn't change her risk. Or maybe, you say things and you do the whole like, well, I don't control the head, I control the neck. Whatever the thing, if you grew up in the South like I do as a white woman, that is what we're all about, being like, oh, that's your idea. Like, just a mastermind. It's unbelievable. It's crazy. crazy skill, but it's exhausting. I don't want to do it. So even if your marriage is happy, doesn't matter. So they're doing studies in Australia too. Same thing. The strength of association between depression and heart disease is of a greater magnitude than any other risk factor. It's really depressing to be stuck with a man who hates you. To be trapped, baby trapped by a man. To realize that all of the things that you want to do in life, you no longer can because this man exploits your labor and literally monopolizes all of the spare time within your couple. So you can go play golf or climb or, video games and all that stuff, whatever he's doing. Look at this though. There's a condition called, Takotsubo cardiopathy, also known as stress cardiomyopathy or broken heart syndrome. Oh, here, they're getting close. They're getting close to how sometimes, or a lot of times, or maybe sometimes, it might be associated with your heart being broken from what? From who? Who's breaking your heart? As many as 90% of cases occur in women between the ages of 58 and 75. 90% of cases between the ages of 58 and 75. While many people recover, the condition can be life-threatening and is often triggered by intense physical or emotional stress. Let's also include in there, even when you're like, yay, I'm done raising the kids, that's great. Guess what? He's going to retire. And when he retires, he's either going to be gone all the time playing golf or just doing whatever he wants, or he's going to be at home, bored, and making your life, so many women are like, can you please unretire? You make my life miserable. Which, by the way, gray divorces, that's what it's called, gray divorces, I think there's another word for it. And also DV is very high in this age group. Why do you think that is? They're broken heart. From what? Because the men because they don't have a job anymore, because they're retired, or because they have health problems, or blah, blah, blah. Who do they take it out on? The people in the house. And if it's just her left, she's gonna get it. I'm telling y'all, so many women are marrying the high school bully, and you are their live-in nerd. And then on top of that, and then they go to the doctors and they're like, I don't know, I feel like there's something wrong with my heart. And they're ignored, only to later discover they have experienced a heart attack or cardiovascular disease because no one believes women. This one lady in New York, for years, could not find what the cause of her intense heart palpitations and chest tension was. But it could be related to being a 51-year-old Russian immigrant, a busy mother. What does that mean, busy mother? And we know all mothers are busy, but some mothers are busier than others because of another factor of someone not doing enough. Of two teenage sons steering her own thriving so working a lot and is a busy mom. We know that most men who have partners who work just as much as them, if they're women, who work just as much as them or more, still do less parenting and domestic labor and mental and emotional labor. You go to one after another and they don't listen to you. They don't hear you. They just dismiss you, and that's how I felt. So by the time she met this doctor, the vessel in her heart had become constricted and calcified, and there was absolutely nowhere to attach a new bypass. So not only are you gaslit by all your doctors, by the time you find one that believes you, it may be too late. Doctors placed 7 stents in all 3 of her major arteries. And they prescribed a lifestyle regimen to better regulate the anxiety and chronic stress. Who's causing the anxiety? I mean, the job, capitalism, parenthood, all that. I'm not saying that those are not all playing it. And then if you have racism on top of that, ableism, transphobia, homophobia, if you have all this other stuff, then it's obviously going to be even more intense. Everyone keeps asking, what about this chronic stress? Well, sometimes you need a doctor to tell you you're literally going to die of a heart attack if you don't change something. Okay, so what did she do? She sold her practice, moved to Florida, beaches, has become a grandmother. I mean, not being a parent, not co-parenting with, I don't know this lady. Maybe he was an amazing dad. But I'm just saying across the board, statistics show that women are doing way more labor in the home, especially if they have kids. So I'm just assuming that's in this case too. So now she's a grandma. Grandma maybe is not working as much as mom did in terms of parenting, and she's in Florida. So sounds like she's just doing one job now instead of having a full-on career and an unpaid job. She's doing way more than her fair share of. But again, they're just like, oh yeah, I mean, great. Man, I would love if everyone could just move to Florida, although that's probably not a great idea right now, especially what's going on with multiple things. And maybe everyone could just sell their practice and stop working, but that is not what most people can do, especially in this economy. So meditation, yoga, expensive. Some of this stuff, yeah, you can walk, you do all this stuff. But can we just please, is one sentence going to acknowledge men's role in any of this? I'm pretty sure it doesn't. All this is helpful. There's so many things you can do. But please just don't think that taking anti-anxiety meds and blood pressure medicine is really, that may like save your life a little bit, but that's not the problem. Her doctor's advice helped her experience a different state of mind and being. There's just a lot of joy each day. Yeah, because you're not working 2 full-time jobs or parenting. I don't know. Maybe that's probably part of it. Look at this. An intricate web of mental health and cardiovascular well-being. There isn't a clear explanation why the connection is so strong in women. I don't know. Is there not, though? Studies from Emory University have found that women experiencing acute mental stress are more susceptible than men to constriction of the small peripheral arteries. I don't know, whatever. It's the same thing. Overlook. It affects women. So women, we need to be taking this stuff more seriously. And when it does affect our heart and our arteries and all that stuff, men, it's more centralized apparently. And women, it's still more diffused, which is very dangerous because it can be more difficult to detect and treat, according to this person. So on top of the gaslighting, it's also hard to even know you got a problem because it's not centralized. Chronic stress may further exacerbate coronary heart disease progression by fueling inflammation. Y'all, inflammation in general is so bad for the body. A risk factor more pronounced in women, of course. This heightened inflammation response elevates their chances of a major adverse cardiovascular event. Here it is again. We know anxiety and stress and depression are bad. Now let's figure out how to identify and treat people who are at risk. Maybe we should ask all the married women raising kids with men. Let's start there. Not saying it's just them. But unless they are rich and can afford to outsource that extra labor that men create, unless they can also hire a nanny, a maid, a cook, a personal secretary, maybe even a schmeg's worker, right? Unless they can literally pay someone to take some of that load off of her, I'm going to be willing to bet that it is women married to men and having children with men, who are like middle class and below, maybe a son, whatever. Start there. Why am I giving them solutions? I don't understand. Why do they not mention this? How do we help them manage stress so that it improves their blood flow? Oh my God! Stop asking these questions. I'm telling you. I'm like, I know I don't know more than these people. Every time I see an article about women's health, and it doesn't mention men at all, I'm like, how can you not include the stress that men bring to our lives? They literally are number one predator in our home. And then they're like, well, we're going to think about the mental, so we do antidepressants or traditional talk therapy, maybe, or, studying genetic link. And then they're like, maybe discovering new drugs. No. So I'm just like so over it. I just wrote that. If you take out the social element and the power structures that oppress all these groups of people, what's the point of even asking this? What's the point? Following a heart attack, women have a higher risk of mortality within the first 5 years. While not fully understood, one theory suggests that the increased risk could be attributed to the adverse psychological reactions to the stress of experiencing a heart attack. Yeah. You know what that could also be about? Experiencing a heart attack while being married to a man and then having heartache or whatever they called it. Because you know that man is probably going to leave you now that you're sick. 6 times more likely to leave you. Or is terrible at caretaking or caregiving. Have you seen, not all, I've seen some men be amazing caretakers. Have you seen the way some of them do? I reported on this a while ago. Some of them will strap their wives in the car with a seatbelt rather than watch. I'm not even joking. I did that in a video. Some of these men literally, they don't want to care for their wives. So if they have a memory or anything, they literally strap them in the front seat of the car and leave them in the car so they can't go anywhere. Like, look it up. Another reason why you should really pay attention when you are dating a man, get sick while you are with him. See how he handles that. A lot of these men, they will show their true colors when you're sick. Of course, they can always do a switch up and be like, great while you're dating. And as soon as you get married, they're like, you're on your own, whatever. So in addition to all that crap, we have to worry about the fact that we're not referred to cardiac rehabilitation programs, which can help limit the psychological stresses associated with the cardiac. We also aren't given any preventative care, not given protective medication, such as cholesterol-lowering statin, beta blockers are protected against future cardiac. Sorry, I'm like blah, 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 blah. And experts say lifestyle intervention are among the most effective and accessible tools. How though? Another reason why I'm telling you, if you're going to marry a man, you better have money and a way to get out. Because if a man is not making your life easier, he's making it harder. If you are not glowing up, you are slowly dying and you don't even know it. And it's not until you have a heart attack that you're like, oh my God, he's literally unaliving me with stress and lack of care and lack of thoughtfulness and exploitation of labor and being a literal parasite who's just, you know, king baby who just suck on mommy's thing. I'm okay. It's okay. They're like, regular exercise, sleep patterns. Oh, well, let's see. Make sure your husband has a sleep apnea machine or you're never sleeping. Or get in a different room. Go to another room. Have a sleep divorce. It'll save your life. As well as tools like meditation, social support. Well, let's hope you're not with a narcissist who's cut you off from all your friends. All this, presence of family members or friends with whom women can maintain regular contact and strongly predicts their cardiovascular health. Okay, great. And you know where that anxiety and depression comes from? And being like, he's probably going to divorce me if I get sick. So even if you are in like a happy marriage, but you bite your tongue all the time and you know you're doing way too much, please make sure you are working on your friendships, that you have a golden girls plan for your future. You have a strong community and strong friendship, because I promise you, if you get sick, those are the people who are going to save your life. Invest in those relationships like your life depends on it, because it does. And if you have made it this far, please just say, I made it this far, because I would love to know how much people actually watch. And I also would like to know if you can relate to this, because so many people who follow me have been in abusive relationships. What did you start, even if it was emotionally and not like physic, what happened to your body? Because not only did I have that throat thing, people said that like I just looked different. I looked exhausted. I also gained a lot of weight from stress, from him literally trying to, and I quote, fatten you up so no one else will want you. Let's see, what else? My body broke out in hives when I was near that man towards the end, because my body was like, get away. And I'm like, shh. We're gonna get away, but we gotta pretend so that we don't die trying to get away, okay, body? And it's like, no, your body is trying to talk to you. And we have been taught to not listen to it. To listen to the doctor who's like, no, you just like, whatever, here's some anti-anxiety meds. Talk to friends, talk to other women. Go to the right doctor and please start letting go of her, because she is great to get you through childhood, through patriarchy and all that stuff, like whatever, but she she can't run the show. Life's too short. You're literally gonna die from her being, no, everything's fine, no, I'm not mad. It's killing you. And you probably have too many people in your life who care about you and love you to see you be taken way too early because of a heart attack, diabetes, autoimmune, whatever, all this stuff. Please, please take your health seriously. And if you gotta fake a heart attack to get to, I'm not necessarily suggesting that, but I am saying, like, I hope it doesn't take a heart attack or cancer or something so life-threatening to wake you up if you are being actively exploited by the very person who claims they love you. They just don't know how to do all these things. You can't be loved by someone exploiting you. And you can't truly love, someone that you are enabling and taking care of, unless they're a little baby, unless they're a child or somebody who is, can't take care of themselves, which is not a grown man, able-bodied. Codependency, chronic codependency. I've been there. That, all kinds of other things. But a lot of times they don't love us, and we actually don't love them either. We're just taking care of them. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, share. Please follow my Patreon, because that is where I do fun stuff, lives, talk about friends, Mo's content over there, like everything, more personal stuff, because I don't feel like sharing as much in public anymore. You got to come to a smaller platform to find that kind of stuff. But thank you for being here. Make sure you're subscribed. If you like my stuff, make sure the notifications are on so that you actually see my stuff. And join the Patreon if you want to actually be notified when I publish, because even notifications don't do that sometimes, whatever. Anyway, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me know what you think. And, voila! This is my comment song. Are you writing a comment? This is my moment song. I need to work on this. Okay. This is What do y'all think about that piano? Huh? It's not in tune. I like this. This sounds better. This is my comment song. Better hurry, wrap it up now. Bye et voila.